Overpriced watches, take 2. So a couple of months ago, I made a video talking about overpriced watches like the Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso with the JLC price hikes, the IWC Ingenieur, which I'm honestly still not over how they decided to price that watch, but I'm gonna let it go. We're gonna move on. But there are so many watches I missed in that video that I want to cover today. I made this disclaimer in the last video, but I think it bears repeating. I love these watches. Don't take this as me slagging them off. In fact, the only reason why I know they're overpriced is because I'm constantly checking them out.
Oh, geez, look at the butt on that.
So this isn't me saying these watches are bad. I just think they're overpriced for what they are. Okay, so in my last video, I had lots of comments asking why Rolex wasn't on the list. I always find Rolex tricky in that I don't usually find their watches to be overpriced. That's not to say they're inexpensive, they're quite expensive, obviously. But the price tag for me almost always makes sense and feels worth it. With one exception, they're precious metal watches. I constantly look at the GMT Master 2, CHNR, the Root Beer, and I love the full Ever Rose Gold. But the price? The price tag is crazy. When you're looking at £30,000 plus on a single watch, you're now going into Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin territory. And I just can't bring myself to spend that much on a precious metal Rolex. Another watch I think of, this is one my husband bought, but the Precious Metal Daytona on Oyster Flex. He has a yellow gold Daytona on Oyster Flex bought at retail for £25,000. That's a crazy price tag for a watch on a rubber strap that costs £13,000 more than the stainless steel on a bracelet variation. Oh, it's just too much. Next watch we need to talk about is the Omega Ploprof. And I most specifically want to talk about the new summer blue variation. Now, I've always had a weird soft spot for the Ploprof. They're giant and garish and honestly sometimes a bit silly, like the shark-proof bracelet. I love it. There's just something about its sheer beastliness that I love. It's not supposed to be an elegant desk diver, it's a crazy dive watch. So at the end of June 2023, Omega released a flurry of new Seamasters celebrating 75 years of the Seamaster line. It was essentially taking their pre-existing models and putting a new blue dial on it. But one of the things that really struck me was the price. Most of the increases were mild, so the Seamaster Diver 300 only went up £300, but the Summer Blue Ploprof had a huge price hike from £10,000 or £11,000, depending on the model, to the Summer Blue being £13,200. To be fair, there are some differences you get for your £3,000. So the Summer Blue variation is on a rubber strap and the Omega steel rather than titanium. For the alloy nerds out there, Omega Steel is a proprietary alloy which is 40 to 50% harder than 316L steel, with a yield rating more than double of traditional steel. Omega Steel is kind of like titanium, it can withstand the same pressure and performance as titanium. So that's cool, I just don't think the price aligns with what you're getting. But what do I know? As a general rule, Seikos are insane value for money. Seiko, to me, represents heritage, charm, and durability. But there was one Seiko in this last year that I just could not wrap my head around the price tag. The Prospex SLA065 saved the ocean. So this is yet another interpretation of Seiko's most iconic dive watch, the 62 MAS. And it's a great looking watch, packed with higher end Seiko features. 120 click bezel, screw down crown, sapphire glass, and the caliber 8L35, which is based on the Grand Seiko 9S55. I think these features, and particularly the movement, are responsible for the higher end of the pricing. But don't get too fooled by the movement. Even though it is based on the 9S55, it still only packs 50 hours of power reserve and plus 15 minus 10 seconds a day accuracy. I've said it once before and I'll say it again. I measure everything in Tudors. This Seiko has about the same price as a Black Bay 58, but with Tudor you're getting COSC certification and 70 hours of power reserve. But I might be being too mean. The SLA065 is a limited edition, so that should bear some weight. I might be being too harsh on Seiko with this one. Regular price Prospex? Yes, all day long. But there's something about this limited edition that rubs me wrong. Okay, this is another one that's just going too high for me, and it brings me no joy to say this as a Rolex fangirl, but the Rolex Submariner, and namely the date variation in green. The Submariner has been going up and up for some time, but for the green bezel date, it is £9,100 at MSRP right now. We live in a world where the Rolex Submariner is now retailing for almost £10,000. Oh! I have my name down for the no date at £7,700, and I thought that was a little too wild. But let's put it this way, the 116610LV, or the Hulk, retailed for £7,550 in 2020. In 3 years, the green variation of the Submariner has gone up nearly £2,000. Honestly, it's not often that I think a Rolex isn't worth its retail price, but with the sub-date green right now, I don't think it's worth it anymore. Let's talk TAG Heuer. I'm a shameless apologist of TAG. I really believe in them, and I think they have all the ingredients to be one of the biggest watch brands. But with their heavy push towards smartwatches, they're kind of starting to lose me. My best friend Josh Kenny has a general restaurant rule, and I think it applies here. So if a restaurant specializes in chicken, even though they offer beef, they have a full menu, but they specialize in chicken, he'll only buy a chicken dish from their menu. And same with the other way around. If a restaurant specializes in beef burgers, say, he won't go there and order a chicken burger. He'll only get what they specialize in. It's a really good rule, and I'd recommend applying that same rule in watch buying. If a watch brand specializes in and has a long, robust history of traditional mechanical watchmaking, I wouldn't go for their smartwatch. And if a brand specializes in smartwatches, think Garmin or Apple, that's who I'd go with. So the connected watches hover about the £2,000 price point, and the cheapest, caliber E4, retails for £1,650 in stainless steel. Keep that in mind, £1,650 for their entry-level smartwatch. The Apple Watch Ultra, Apple's beefiest watch, has 100 meters water resistance to the TAG 50 meters. It's made out of titanium rather than steel. In every single way possible, it is better. And if I put in every possible add-on to make this as expensive as possible, it still only costs £948. If you're wanting a smartwatch, I'm not a smartwatch person, but if you're wanting one, I wouldn't recommend TAG. TAG Heuer has this rich history through Heuer, and even in the 90s, which in my head wasn't that long ago, but the youth keep reminding me it was 30 years ago, but whatever. In the 90s, TAG Heuer was the brand. And I don't know, it makes me sad to see the direction they're heading in. Anyways, I won't get into my TAG sermon. In this video, I spent so much time evaluating watches, comparing products, and measuring worth and value. It was a ridiculous amount of sifting through data and trying to communicate it in a way that makes sense. And that's just not something that I'm naturally good at. But I've been getting so much better at it thanks to today's fabulous video sponsor, Brilliant. If you haven't used Brilliant before, you're missing out. It is the best learning platform for math, data science, and computer science. I'm personally someone who learns through doing, so their hands-on approach is perfect for me. I've been using Brilliant.org over this last month to up my math and data skills, more specifically my data analysis, so I've been doing the Explore Data Visually and Data Analysis Fundamentals course. This has been teaching me dataset basics, relationship in data, and standard deviation. Look at me right there. I'm learning new stuff, which has been so helpful for me as I try to grow this channel, and I have to analyze my data and analytics while I try to make content that you guys hopefully keep liking. But they've got all sorts of courses in technology, AI, algorithms, computer science, and engineering that teach in an interactive way, and is not just sitting through boring lectures. If you've wanted to learn something new for fun or to develop professionally, give Brilliant a try. Head to brilliant.org/BritPierce for a free 30-day trial, and the first 200 people will get 20% off a premium Brilliant subscription. You'll find the link in my description down below. Go click it now. So big thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Go click my link down below. And let's thank the Pope Tier patrons. Ooh, patrons! It's a falsetto song. Did you see this coming? I bet you didn't, but maybe you did. Thank you, Pope Tier patrons. Thank you, all tier patrons, but most specifically, Pope Tier patrons. Thank you, patrons.